Well, the Taliban now face the challenge of running a government in Afghanistan, things like paying the salaries of state workers and running public services. But access to both the group's own bank accounts and central bank reserves have been frozen, while international support has been suspended. Zubair Iqbal is from the Washington-based Middle East Institute. I asked him about the challenges ahead.
Well, it's very interesting because remember that 75% of government spending is funded by foreign aid. But however, what happens is that under the current circumstances, the formal sector of the economy is relatively small as compared to the informal sector, which is not affected. At this moment, what we are seeing is that if the foreign assistance is withdrawn for the whole year, the economy could contract by double digits, about 11 to 15% over the year itself, which is a terrible thing because it will definitely increase a very large increase in unemployment in the economy, and poverty levels will go up.
Give us a sense, if you can, of how robust you think Afghanistan's economy is.
Well, it is a very fragile economy. Remember that a substantial part of the economy is the informal sector of the economy, where operations take place which have nothing to do with the government policy itself. It benefits from increased spending, but then it has its own life, it has its own existence, it continues to go on of its own in relations with other countries in the region as well as within the country. Informal sector includes drugs, as well as quite a bit of agriculture and domestic trade. So in a way, they're not affected. However, government facilities and government services tend to fall. When they fall, the urban sectors are very badly affected. And remember, much of the political support that the present or the previous government had was from the urban sectors.
There is a terrible irony about all of this, isn't there, in a sense, because Afghanistan is hugely wealthy. It's wealthy in mineral resource. I think the mineral wealth of Afghanistan is estimated to be at around $3 trillion. Can the Taliban successfully tap that wealth?
Not really. You see, it's a long-term issue. It's not a short-term issue. Number one, it requires massive amount of investments and massive amount of infrastructure to be developed, which takes time and a lot of money. And under the circumstances, Afghanistan has neither of the two. Somebody else has to come from outside and has to have guarantees for the security and protection of those investments, and then provide a long-term guarantee that nothing will be done to alter the terms and conditions on which the investments will take place.
If that's long-term, what is short-term and has historically always been successful at pulling in short-term cash is the drugs trade. How do you see that over the short term, over the coming few years?
Well, look, I think the drug issue is overplayed. The total revenue that the Taliban collected last year from drug trade was about 30% of the total, which is about $450 million equivalent. Now, that's not much. And remember, the drug trade sector covers only about 6 to 7% of GDP. So I don't think that that's going to be the panacea. That's not going to be the source of saving the country in the short term.
Just one final thought. The Taliban clearly are very resourceful and successful at sweeping through the country in terms of their military and intelligence ability. I wonder about their ability to transition to government. How effective will they be in terms of collecting tax and simply running public services?
Oh, this is a very hard question to answer. Look, it all depends upon what's the attitude of the Taliban towards the next government. If the purpose is to have a cohesive government, an inclusive government, then there is a possibility that the skills become available from other sources and other parties. The Taliban themselves, I doubt that they'll be able to do much, even though they've been able to collect revenues, substantial amount of revenues at the borders after having captured those border posts. But there's only a limit to which they can do it.